Hello everyone. Welcome to the Microsoft Azure Networking video series, where you will have short theoretical information and mostly demos. In this second video, I'll try to explain to you about the network security groups. My name is Önder Değer. I'm a Microsoft Azure MVP and I work as an Azure Solution Architect. An Azure Network Security Group is used to filter incoming and outgoing network traffic to Azure resources in the Azure Virtual Network. A network security group contains security rules that allow or deny inbound network traffic to or outbound network traffic from several types of Azure resources. For each rule, you can specify source and destination, port, and protocol. A network security group contains 0 or as many rules as desired. What you see in the presentation are the features that must be in a security rule. When you create a security rules in a network security groups, first of all, you need to define name. A name must a unique name within the network security group. Then you need to define priority. A number between 100 and 4096. Rules are processed in a priority order, with lower numbers processed before higher numbers, because lower numbers have higher priority. And then you need to define source or destination. When you define a source or destination, you can use any or an individual IP addresses, CIDR blocks, for example 10.0.0.0/24. You can use service tag or application security group. And then you need to define protocol. You can choose TCP, UDP, ICMP protocols or any. And then you need to define direction, whether the rule applies to inbound or outbound traffic. Then you need to define port range. You can specify any individual or range of ports. And finally, you need to define action as an allow or deny. Let's create a simple but useful scenario and examine the use of network security groups together. Our scenario will be as follow Azure resources. So as you can see in my Visio diagram, we will have one resource group and the resource group name will be app-rg, and then we will have one VNet. The VNet name is app-vnet, and our VNet address space will be 192.168.0.0/16. And then we will have two subnet in this VNet, and one subnet name will be DMZ and the IP range is 192.168.0.0/24, and the other subnet name will be internal and the name is 192.168.1.0/24. And in this subnet we will have three VM. One VM I'm gonna use for the jump box, and the other VMs will be our application server, and the third VM will be our database server. A database server will only have internal IP address, as you can see, and the jump box and application server will have internal IP address and the public IP address. And we will harden our network and increase security by using network security groups. By the way, I already configured this environment. Let's look at my demo environment. As you can see, I have one resource group. In my resource group, I have one virtual network. In this virtual network, I have two subnets, same like our Visio diagram. And in this resource group, I have three VMs, one for jump box, and jump box has public IP address and private IP address, and the other server is application server. Application server has one public IP address and one private IP address too, And let's check to third one, which is the database server. And the database server has only private IP address, as you can see. Now, as I said, let's harden our network and increase security by using network security groups. Since I'll create rules specific to Jumpbox and application server, I'll create the NSGs for these VMs separately. And then I'll create the rules specific to the subnet where the DB server resides. I'll create a private network security group to the internal subnet. So let's create first network security group. So I'm going to search network security group, and this network security group name will be Jumpbox NSG, and it will be in the North Europe. I will define security rules and I will associate later. So my first one is ready. So I can go back to my resource group and I can create a second one for my application server. Network security group. And I click create. And I say this time application NSG. And this will be in the North Europe too. And finally, I can create my third network security group. So this security group name will be internal NSG because I will use this security group for my subnet. I'm going to define internal NSG, and this will be in the North Europe too. Now I have three network security groups, one for my internal subnet and two of them for my Jumpbox and application servers. So let's go to the first one, which is the Jumpbox network security group, and I will associate this network security group to my Jumpbox server's network interface. So I choose the network interface, and in a couple seconds it will be associated to my Jumpbox server network interface. Yes, it's done. So let's go back to my resource group and let's click the application, and I'm gonna do same things, but this time I will be associated to my application server's network interface. So this is completed too. And finally, I'm going to my internal network security groups, but this time I'm gonna associate to my internal subnets. So because of that, I'm click to subnet and click to associate, and this time I'm choosing my network and my internal subnet. Now all are ready, so I can create network security rules.
First of all, I want to create a rule for my Jumpbox server. I just want to allow access to this Jumpbox server with desktop protocol from my public IP address. So for this, I'm going to click Jumpbox NSG and go to inbound security rules and click that. The source IP address will be my public IP address. So because of that, I copy and paste my public IP address here. Source port range can be any, but destination port range will be RDP port, which is 3389, and the destination, for now at least, destination we can leave any, since this network security group is only attached to the Jumpbox Ethernet or network interface, and then we can type the priority number and the name of the security rule. In a couple seconds, these security rules will be available, so we can access to Jumpbox server with the RDP. So let's go to Jumpbox server. By the way, the VM's public IPs have changed since I restart my VMs a few times while preparing this demo. So let's copy and then go to root desktop connection manager and add server. Let's say the name of the server Jumpbox. Log on credentials. Display settings, and then let's try to connect. As you can see, I'm able to connect to this Jumpbox server. The second security rule I will create is to allow access to application and database servers with RDP only from internal IP address of the Jumpbox server. In my scenario, since there is no common NSG for app and DB servers, I need to define permissions separately. All traffic within the VNet is allowed within the default NSG rules. Let's look at this one. Let's go to application network security group. And as you can see, by default, virtual network to virtual network, all protocol and all ports are allowed. So first of all, I will deny this, then I will allow RDP access over Jumpbox server. So let's go to inbound security rules and click add and source service stack. First service stack will be virtual network, source port range any, and the destination virtual network 2, and the destination port any. I'm gonna give a 500 as a priority number and say all deny. Now I deny all traffic between the virtual network in the virtual network. And I said allow, let's say deny in here. Now I can create a RDP security rule from my Jumpbox server to the application server. Let's click add, and the source, my IP address, my Jumpbox IP address is 192.168.0.4, and the source port range can be any, destination any, and destination port 3389. And let's say priority number 400. It must be less than the all deny priority number. So name will be RDP from Jumpbox. So let's try to access to this VM. My VM private IP is 192.168.0.5. So let's go and try to access. Yep, now we can access the application server. I'm going to apply same rules to my database server. So for this, I'm going to internal NSG because database servers in the internal subnet and this subnet attached to this network security group. So I'm going to internal NSG and go to inbound security rules, and source will be virtual network and the destination will be virtual network. Destination port will be any, action deny, priority 500, and the name is all deny. After this security rule, I will allow RDP access over Jumpbox server. So let's go add again, say IP address and my Jumpbox server IP address 0.4 and the destination can be any and the destination port 3389. I'm gonna allow priority 400 and the name RDP from Jumpbox. I can define same name because as you can see it's a different network security group. So this completed too. Let's go to database server and copy private IP address. So let's try to access from Jumpbox server. Yep, now we can access. My security rules for RDP connections are okay. Now I need to allow the application server for RDP and HTTP access over the internet. So for this, I'm going to application NSG, click inbound security rules, and then click add. Source will be any because I would like to allow all internet, but I would like to just allow HTTP and HTTPS access. Priority will be 490, and I would like to say allow web. By the way, before apply, let's try to access application server. I already installed the IIS and I have a simple website. So I'm going to open a new browser and type my application server public IP address. And I'm going to try access to this server over HTTP. As you can see, there is no connection. Then I'm going to allow this rule. In a couple seconds, I can access to this VM over HTTP. So let's try again. As you can see, website is working. Thanks to everyone for watching this video. See you in the next part.